This episode of the Citadel Cafe is brought to you by listeners like you. Visit patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe to find out how you can become a patron and help make this show possible. This is the Citadel Cafe, episode number 501, recorded Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. My name is Joel Duggan, and the Citadel Cafe is where my friends and I hang out to talk about the geeky stuff that we're into. The podcast is available on all of the major podcasting platforms, including YouTube. If you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing wherever you're listening to this. Joining me, as usual, is my friend Steven. You can find him at Steven ESC on all of the social media that matters. Hello, sir.
Hello to you as well. Now, I know we usually do a bit of back and forth, but I sort of want to, before we get into things, I know I mentioned it to you in person more than once, but as we start recording episode 501, I just wanted to take a moment to congratulate you again on the 500th episode of the Citadel Cafe.
Thanks, man.
We didn't get to say it on the air last time I was here, but genuinely that's a huge accomplishment. So yeah, congrats.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's fun, and I've been pretty consistent with it. It's shifted from weekly over the years to monthly, but when you just keep on doing it and don't really look at the numbers, just kind of keep on doing it because it's fun to talk to friends about nerdy movies and TV shows, they pile up really fast. Like, you don't think about how often and how many you do. It's the same thing with the Spawn Chunks. Now, the Spawn Chunks, we religiously do that weekly. So we hit 52 episodes a year. So we're at like 386 this week now on Spawn Chunks. So we're coming up on 400, and that's going to happen this year. And that's always wild to us when we hit the big zeros, right? It's just like, man. And for context, the Spawn Chunks is going to be 8 years old this year, and the Citadel Cafe is now 14 years old.
Right. Yeah. That's you'll be catching up in I think short order on the Citadel Cafe. That's crazy. Well done.
And this is also is it fourth year doing this?
Actually, yeah, it's the 500th episode was actually the end of 5 years of being a regular guest on your show. So this one, 501, is also the beginning. Like it's like 6.01 or whatever you want to say. My first episode of my 6th year.
Nice.
I'm hosting. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's amazing that time flies that quickly. So yeah, no, I'm happy to. Thanks for having me along, man. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. And I appreciate folks that are listening and supporting on Patreon as well. And I've got a little bit of news there. We are in the process of moving the billing on Patreon from per creation or per episode to monthly. You might have noticed over the last year or two that the Citadel Cafe is monthly or roughly monthly. There might be 2 episodes released in a month, but then like there might not be one the following month. But we do about 12 episodes a year. That seems to be the right amount of time for Steven and I to find something to watch, find something to talk about, especially because we've been talking about series more often, and it's a lot easier to watch those over the course of a month when you've got a busy professional life than it is to try to watch them in a week and talk about them on the show. And I like not binging things. Like, I kind of prefer to watch them in my own time. So we've moved the show to monthly, and I'm going to be moving the Patreon to monthly. That is now in the hands of Patreon. I've kind of given them the heads up that I want to make the transition, and we are going to see what that's going to look like. That is more than likely going to happen for March, though. It's not going to happen in the next couple of days. We've got a couple of days until February, and that's when the next billing cycle happens, and it won't happen before then. So if anything from the Spawn Chunks is to indicate, which is another show that I did this with, it'll be 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that by the time we start the process to the part where it's done. I just have to come up with potentially new tier pricing because, of course, $2 a show versus, is it going to be $5 or $6 a month? Like, how are we going to tier that? So I just have to take a minute to sort that out. But the change is happening, and it won't really change much. I'm going to keep things around the same. In a way, there might be a slight monthly increase for people, but it's one of those things where we haven't raised the Patreon tier pricing in as long as we've had it. So it's more expensive to run the show than it used to be. So so that stuff might change, but we'll give lots of notice. And also in the process of doing that, Stephen and I were talking behind the scenes about other things that we can then offer as behind the scenes for our patrons. And one of the thoughts that we had was to have a little bit of a recording after the show. So stick around for a bit. And rather than that having a separate audio file as its own thing, we used to call them Barista cuts. We're just going to have like a post-show chat, and that will be attached to the main podcast on Patreon. And there'll be a version of that with patron access on it. It'll just be a longer version. So people that are supporting the show will get a little bit of extra content. So we'd like to try to do that week to week, because we generally hang out and chat like, I don't know, a few minutes after the show, after we finish recording anyway, especially if there's people in the live chat. So
yeah.
So what have you been up to over the last little bit? We had our big 500 episode in December, but then I mean we've hung out and chatted, but we haven't really talked about like this kind of stuff since then. So what have you been up to?
I know you talk about Minecraft in your other podcast, but actually been watching a lot of Minecraft speedrunning in the last little while. My sons have gotten me into it, so I've gotten to know a lot of the speed runners lately, and they
Sure.
had they have playoffs every season. So there's somebody, their username is Redlime, and they created a speed running ranked mod, which basically allows you to go in and race against someone else on the same seed in real time. So you get all of the same resources and everything. So everyone's basically served up exactly the same resources, and you are like, whoever wins gets more points. And so it's sort of like chess, where you get this, let's call it ELO ranking. That is something sophisticated that I don't understand, but basically you can work your way up the rankings. And at the end, every 4 months, it's either every 3 or 4 months, they have a playoff. And we watched that a couple of weekends ago, and we made a big, kind of a fun weekend out of it, where we got chips and juices, and we were there in front of the playoffs for Saturday and Sunday. And it's pretty interesting, and especially when you get to know when you get to know the players, and the players have been really struggling to work their way up the line, up the rankings for a while, and seeing how they're doing. It's pretty exciting, and the chance to win a share of $5,000. It's become one of the things every few months that I would love to do with my son. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. It's funny how similar, I mean, it's all esports, right? Like it's similar to any kind of sport where like you don't know much about it if it's a new sport to you, but then the more time that you spend watching it with somebody that's into it, and the more that you catch on, it's like, okay, yeah, no, I get it now. Like I can follow along.
Mm-hmm.
It's like watching football or hockey for the first time and then not really understanding it. Or my sister and brother-in-law are really into F1, and like I don't care about F1. I've never watched F1. I can't imagine myself caring about F1. But I also could not imagine my sister caring about F1. But they do. Like they got into it. They were looking for something else that was sport related to watch during the off seasons of hockey and baseball, and so they were looking at F1, which I think goes year round. And they watched a couple of documentaries. They got into the teams. They decided who they're going to follow, and of course now there's backstories. Like once there's a story, you're kind of invested, right? And
yeah, exactly.
And so like as you were saying, you're following these people along their ranking speedruns to get to the tournament, to get to the chance to win part of $5,000. So if you're following, especially if it's one particular or two particular people, then you have stakes in the game, right? Like you want to see people that you like win, right?
It's been a thing, or it's been around for a little while now, but there are different content creators who don't really do Minecraft, and then even less so Minecraft speedrunning, who heard about it. So they've actually tried the Minecraft ranked speedrunning and sort of got a bunch of their followers at least introduced to it. So this past playoff had tons and tons more viewers than it ever had before. And so it's basically these funds have been coming from one Minecrafter named Feinberg. He's been basically over the course of the year, and money he makes from streaming the playoffs and his own stream, he's the one who puts the funds together for this. So, but it's been growing and growing in this last time, because there's been I forget the users' names, but I think there were two main content creators who tried it, who had a lot, and they just ballooned the number of followers they had. So it's good. It's looking good for it, and really enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to the next one too.
So over the holidays, I mentioned that I have Downton Abbey as one of my like comfort watches.
Oh, right.
And just recently, the third and final film has come out, and it just hit streaming, I think like over the last week or so. And I thought to myself, I was going to sit down and watch it. It's like, I don't remember if I've seen the second one. I thought I saw the first one, and it turns out I had. But the first one was on Netflix. I just actually bit the bullet and rented the second one on Apple. It was $5 and thought, well, whatever. I think the thing there is that it's the second of three. I loved the show. I really liked the first movie. It's the same production crew. It's the same everything, right? It's just this family of people that have been working together for a better part of a decade to make this stuff. So it was good. And I honestly think that the second one was probably better than the third. The third definitely had some good moments, but there was a lot of, I don't want to say modern stuff, but it was more they wanted to tie everybody off with a nice little bow, but when you have such an ensemble cast, it's hard to have like a through line plot for the whole film because there's just so much going on. And they sort of wrapped everybody up, but then at the same time they didn't, and there was some stuff that was to me unsatisfying. I'm not saying anything specifically because it really only just hit streaming the other day, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody that is a fan. But the acting is fantastic, and the set dressing and like all the stuff. It's all set in like the early 1900s, so there's no CG as unless if there is, it's like, a sunset or something. Like it's all very practical filming and props and costumes and stuff like that. And what was interesting to me is that in the second film, they brought in Hollywood, which I thought was really interesting. One of the plot lines was the transition from silent films with like the dialogue cards that would come up in black and white to recording audio, and how that was changing for the actors that were involved. And the whole thing is that Downton was trying to get some money, and some fancy filmmaker decided that he wanted to film a movie at Downton. And so the people and the staff and all this kind of stuff were all, there for it. And the funniest thing about the whole movie is that some of the older characters are turning their nose up at like actors, like, oh gosh, watch those actors, make sure they're not like stealing stuff, from the credenza. And you just kind of like the irony of all of these very well-known British actors, like
that's
just
funny.
ribbing their own profession was very funny, and it was all really well done. And there was also some scenic stuff. The part of the family went to south of France, and they're very well done movies. And I know that you'd said that you hadn't seen the series. I think you and Tam would really enjoy it. But it's just nice to know that when that series ends, there's like 3 feature films that you can watch that are available in one form or another online to access. And I did really like them. Like they have the same feel as the show. They give you the same sort of like warm and fuzzies when you want them to. And it's a window in time, and it's almost, I'm glad the show is wrapping up, because if they tried to continue with any kind of spin-off, then you get into the 1930s and then the 40s and like World War II. And they covered World War I in the series, in the actual television show. And there's something timeless about that period in time that just doesn't translate into the 30s and the 40s. I would love to see a show like Downton, in terms of like the kind of characters, the ensemble cast, a period piece done in like, say, the 40s or the 50s. That would be, I mean, Mad Men would have been pretty close, right? In terms of what they were trying to do. It was focused on advertising, but I'm thinking it would be interesting in Britain as opposed to, or maybe even some other country, but not the US, because we just get so much from the US. But it was just such an interesting slice of Britain's history. It would be really cool to see more period pieces, because I find that so much modern stuff it's just so drab and bleak. Like everything is some
Bleak's a good word, yeah.
like murder mystery, or like everything is just, it's either a murder mystery where something awful has happened, or it's if it's not sci-fi like post-apocalyptic nonsense, then it's World War III. You know, like it's just what happens when the big red button is pushed, or like that kind of stuff. Or it's rich people behaving badly, right? Like those are the tropes I see in modern series. Like, and I just, all of it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's not relaxing at all. So I would love to see more period pieces in this sort of vein. But I feel like I've probably seen a lot about World War II, so I would hope it would happen like before that or after that. After that would be very interesting. I think would be more fun to watch. And we sort of have something like that in our main discussion this week, because we were talking about watching this and talking about this last week, but we got postponed, so it's a little bit late. But you and I wanted to talk about the Stranger Things finale, and this in itself is kind of like a period piece. Like it's the 80s, and I think that you and I having a lot in common with that decade. There's a lot of stuff in Stranger Things that I really connect with, and I really like that the show was set in that time period, because so much stuff like cell phones or the internet or tablets would ruin the suspense in this movie, in this series, right? Like it just, you take stuff like, I mean, you think back to like the Goonies and E.T., and like if anybody had a cell phone, the movie just doesn't happen. Like you find the kids in 5 minutes, you figure out the answer and where the thing is from. The government's on your doorstep in seconds, like not days, right? Like you don't have a day's head start. So I'm glad that they went and did this in a period piece. I heard rumors that they're trying to do a spinoff, not with these characters, but like another, science fiction / fantasy thing happening in, I can't remember the name of the town. Hawkins, but like maybe in the 90s, right? Like just to fast forward like another decade or something like that with a new cast, and have it be something completely different.
Yeah, if they do that though, I hope they don't just go like, that 70s show, that 80s show, that 90s show, just each one being like a worse
version of the original,
of what was a great original show. I had heard they were going to do something like a spin-off of some kind as well, or something that, like you said, didn't involve the same characters and not necessarily the same tale, but something of the supernatural nature in the same universe. So like we have to say goodbye to the characters we've come to know, and I thought maybe say goodbye to Hawkins, but it was a while ago that I heard it, so I could be wrong, but I think it'd be cool to have something that's, if they can keep stay true to the vibe of the show, even if it gets pushed to the 90s, don't go like the thing about that 90s show is that instead of, like, if I remember correctly, they just went and suddenly there was a dude with a mohawk, there was a guy dressed like, a white guy dressed like hip hop dancers or something like that. And so it was like, they went for like, okay, we're in the 90s, so we have to do a cliche character for all of the 5 people that we have in the show or something like that. Or maybe that was the 80s show or something like that. So I hope when they do it, if it's going to be in an era, they just stay true to what that little town would have been like. Because you're not going to have the full spectrum of cliches in the small town. Like that small town's going to have its own, its own sort of charm of the decade. Like all of the people in Hawkins in the 80s sort of dressed the same. Whereas if you had gone to California or New York, the people in the 80s would have been dressing entirely differently. So I hope they don't go like wild and just go, let's check all of the boxes for the demographics that we feel would be all over the US in this tiny town.
And cell phones were around in the late 80s, but they really didn't become small enough or popular enough to make a difference until the late 90s. And then it was the early 2000s where it's kind of flagged as like mass adoption, like 2002, 2004. which makes sense because I didn't have a cell phone until I was working. Like I was in school the entire time I was in school. I think maybe in animation school I had a cell phone, but it was like a Sony Ericsson. It was mostly like a music MP3 player that I could take calls on. It wasn't like it wasn't the smartphone that we know today. No. And I remember not a cell phone, but I remember a car phone in Lethal Weapon, which I think is 91. But Murtaugh brings it out of the cop car, and he puts the battery on the hood of the car, and the battery is twice the size of the receiver. So like state of the art in the LA Police Department. It's like a phone hooked up to a car battery. Like it was wild, like to see the size of the things. I guess the first one in the early 80s or late 70s was like 2.5 pounds or something. The first cell phone. So, just
need like a special workout regimen just to carry your cell phone around.
No kidding. Yeah. So what did you think of season 5 and the finale of Stranger Things?
Overall, I would say that I enjoyed how it wrapped up. Was I amazed by it? Was I blown away by it? No, but I think it's also hard to sort of wrap something that's becomes so dear to people as a story and do it absolute justice for every single person watching the show. So I think it was kind of, it felt a little bit drawn out in some parts, and then there's an episode or two where there was just so much monologuing going on when there's just stuff blowing around them. It's like basically danger is happening, but they just go off on this conversation or a monologue tangent. But yeah, overall, I think it was a decent ending. There were some episodes that I found were amazing, just the special effects, and yeah, some of the character arcs were really good too. I mean, it depends on how much detail you want to get into right away. Did you have any? What were your overall impressions? We'll do that first, and then we'll get into details.
I think overall, I thought it was good. It wasn't unwatchable. Like you, found a couple things slow and a couple things repetitive, and I feel like the first two episodes, maybe 3 episodes, 2 episodes probably. I had to watch them in a couple different sittings. Like I just didn't get through them all in one go. But once the second half dropped, now granted, I was also on Christmas vacation, so like I had more time.
Right.
But I did like those ones I was watching one per night, like in a row, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Is kind of, I think might have done both on the Sunday night to finish them up. What I remember, whatever I did for the finale. Well, the finale was like a 2-hour movie or something, wasn't it? It was longer. Yeah. So I just remember going into that, and then I was up until like 1 o'clock in the morning finishing it because I was like, all right, I'm not stopping this in the middle.
Here.
Like I'm gonna finish this. So overall, I thought it was good. I don't have as much detail to go into because like I wasn't like you said, I wasn't blown away by it. And as with a lot of things, I do find that these days when things are not written with a beginning, middle, and end from the start, I find a lot of series right now, they either don't want to end, and you can feel that in the writing, or they just can't decide how to end. And you also feel that in the writing. And I did feel that the ending of this went on forever. It's similar to how like the ending of the Lord of the Rings goes on forever, but that goes on forever in a good way. And this went on forever in like, are we still doing this? Like, why is this not ended? And then they gave us, and this is the thing I think that is the biggest kind of wishy-washy part of, part of the problem for me, is at the end, the actual finale felt indecisive. Now, in a way, and this is me being maybe a little bit naive, I felt like it maybe could be a nod for people that know more about how Dungeons and Dragons campaigns often end. Like if your whole party doesn't wipe out and die and there's an actual ending, I'm sure that there's a lot of like open-ended stuff for people in case people want to take those characters on to other campaigns perhaps. So in a way, my dissatisfaction with the ending of this series might have been something that sat very well with D&D players, where I'm just like, this felt like they couldn't decide how to end it, and wasn't really Like I feel like they could. I felt like the way that I thought it ended halfway through or 3/4 of the way through the finale, I was like, yeah, okay, bold choice. Like, I'm glad something happened. I'm glad there was actually some consequences. And I was just like, no. Then they backtracked and said like, well, maybe there isn't consequences. Like, well, guys, like, pick a lane. And that's kind of where I got frustrated with it. But overall, I agree with your assessment of like, there's a lot of just dialogue back and forth when there doesn't need to be, or it's the same thing. It's like, this is the 4th episode of this conversation. Like, why are we still having it? I understand that it's a character conflict, but like, you can resolve this conflict in 1 or 2 episodes and then have something else happen and get everybody back to like the banter that everyone loves and the action or the decisiveness that everybody loves. And I felt like it was just going on forever. The stuff with Steve Harrington and trying to remember Jonathan Byers. So the 2 boys fighting over the girl. Then like, even then, neither one of them end up with the girl, right? It's just like, it felt like pointless to drag it on so long. I did find the Dustin and Steve stuff was really long in the tooth. However, I thought the payoff from Dustin's eventual breakdown was very well done. I just felt like it could have happened sooner. And then once they have that breakdown, then Dustin and Steve are kind of back to being pretty good buddies, and they're dealing with this imminent danger with a little bit of snark and a little bit of friendship, and that's what you want. But you get that for like a third of the final season. The first 2/3 are just like, woe was me, Dustin, and it's kind of hard to watch.
And they're annoyingly at each other for that period of time.
It's childish.
It's like neither one could say a thing without the other one just like jumping down their throats.
Yeah, and it's repetitive and it's childish. And the other thing too is that like, it's the kind of thing that like, this is, yes, it is written in the way that like a 13-year-old might argue with somebody. But the problem is that all of these people are 20. None of them look like they're 13. And so you're watching these adults argue like juveniles, and you're just like, this is annoying. So annoying. I would have preferred them to, I mean, they're all pretty smart people and they're dealing with some pretty adult stuff. I wouldn't have minded if they wrote the dialogue just a little bit older. Like, it's worked for stuff before. Dawson's Creek was like that. No teenager talks like the people on Dawson's Creek, but it made for better TV, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've been at the gym with young people. I don't want to watch a show that has accurate dialogue to how they speak, because they take hours to say nothing. Anyway, not to disparage our audience if you happen to be a younger listener. But yeah, it did feel kind of repetitive. I did some of the stuff that was in character that was repetitive in terms of always having a joke or always having something to say, but I think was in character and also in line with what was going on was Robin. I felt like her character was really funny this season. She had that kind of like always bantering disc jockey kind of mouth just going happening.
Yeah.
And I like her as an actor, and I like what she was doing in the show, and it didn't feel like it was pulling away from what was going on, because the jokes that she was making were about the absurdity of what was happening, and you had to, if you were paying attention to that, it kind of helped you forgive like the happenstance and the this is happening because the script says so, because at some point you kind of like roll your eyes a couple of times in the final season, but then you remember like, this is a show about some weird demigod demon dimension guy that's like possessing kids, and like, just, it is wild and weird, and you kind of have to give it a grain of salt, and I think that she did a good job of just like kind of saying what you were probably thinking as the viewer.
Yeah, I think I liked her character, but I kind of resented her character in a little bit, because they gave her so much airtime this season, and like, I feel like Mike, Will, and Lucas were all kind of useless. Well, I should say Mike and Will were useless in season 4. Lucas wasn't, but his role was very much tied to being there for Max. But in season 5, Lucas was basically a side character at that point. Robin was a much more significant character than Lucas was, I felt. So it just, and then Mike wasn't even that significant either. So it felt like the original. I was kind of hoping that the original core group of kids plus Max, because she was introduced in season 2, so she's been there for, I feel like, a good chunk of time as well. And like Elle, Max, Dustin, and Will were all, I'd say, integral to the way that story progressed in season 5. But Mike, more so, because he was sort of realizing things. He was going to help every once in a while, but they just left Lucas out, and like his sister Erica, who was a side character from one of the earlier seasons, seemed to have just as many. It probably wasn't just as many lines as him, but it just felt like he didn't have, other than sitting there in the bed waiting for Max to come back and then being there for Max when she woke up. He didn't really have much significant to do, or if he did, it just didn't leave any sort of impression on me. Like there are parts that I want to go back again and watch, because I admittedly, thought we were going to record last week, so I watched through the last handful of episodes quickly to get through it. Enjoyed it, but I wanted to catch up so we could chat about it. But I feel like he was, sidelined as a character, which was really too bad, because I thought last season, I think the scenes that he was given this season, he acted the heck out of. Like after Max woke up, he's just got tears coming down his face, and that was just, oh my god, dude, you're killing me here, dude, in a good way. But yeah, he wasn't. He did amazing things with the little bit of screen time he had, but I just sort of bummed me out that he wasn't in it more.
Yeah, I felt the same way about Mike this season. I felt like Mike was useless this season. It was just the same kind of background fodder. Like he just wasn't really contributing. He wasn't, like, outside of being, like, I guess Elle's boyfriend, and even then that wasn't sold to me very well.
No, I didn't really feel much like it this season, did it?
No.
Constantly in different areas.
Yeah, and I understand that Elle has a certain kind of delivery. Like I know that the character speaks usually in shorter sentences and is supposed to be under a lot of stress and tension, and just is a different kind of person, not your average, 13, 15-year-old, however old they're supposed to be in this.
Mm-hmm.
Millie Bobby Brown, her performance did not sell me on anything this time around. Specifically the action. That was one of my other big detractors. Was like, I didn't buy any of the action from Millie Bobby Brown at all as Elle. Like it was all very, like, nothing felt like it was fast moving. Sure, when she used her powers, it was okay, but that's more effects than anything else. But like all the running and training and stuff that they had her doing, it's like, it just doesn't seem like it was really having the effect that they wanted it to. And then that bled over for me. At first I was like, well, whatever, like it's the 80s and the outfits are weird. They're all wearing like, jogging suits with their socks tucked in, and like it's an odd look. But no, when she started interacting more with Mike, it was just, they just kind of looked at each other and said each other's names. Like there was no substance whatsoever. Like it was just empty. And wasn't my favorite thing. It was the same thing with Jim Hopper and Elle. Their conversations were the same. Every time they opened their mouths, it was like, I'm trying to protect you. You won't let me do my thing. I can do this. And that was the gist of the conversation. That's the entire season. That's all they said to each other over and over again. And so that I found very frustrating as well.
And then there were a couple of characters which, when they were first introduced, I think Murray and Erica were kind of funny when they were first brought on, because they offered a bit of comedic relief in their delivery, but they haven't changed at all since they were first introduced. Mm-hmm. All they're doing is delivering lines in their sort of either really over the top, what did you expect kind of way from Murray, and then Erica just like insulting everyone. Like she was calling that Derek kid like dipshit Derek repeatedly. I mean, she's straight up bullying this kid over and over and over again. And it's like, if that's supposed to be funny, that's kind of not cool anymore. Not that it should have ever been, but like, cool kids, it was just tough to watch. So, and I think apologize to listeners, because as we've said before, it's easy to pick on things in a show that you liked, or in a show that you wanted to land a certain way that didn't quite land. So don't mean to be overly negative about it, because overall, I think overall I enjoyed it in the end. I think it's landing like around a 7 rating. And for me, that feels probably true. I mean, some parts of it felt a little less than that, sometimes a little bit above.
I would say about the same. Yeah, like it was watchable. Like it was not like I was turning it off and I wasn't like screaming at the ceiling at how angry I was watching it, which I have done at other things. If anybody here has have you tried to watch the latest season of The Witcher? Then this is much better than that. Much better than that. That I turned off angrily. Like I just, when you grab the remote control and you just press the stop button, like stop it. Like just we're done.
And it's so not Liam Hemsworth's fault at all.
Not at all. No, the writing is terrible.
He's a softer version of
Geralt. Yeah.
Geralt. Geez, brain fog there. But I think if he had been the Geralt all along, it would have been just fine. But you're right. Yeah, this was light years ahead of and significantly better than season 3 of The Witcher.
And I agree with your thoughts on Erica and Marie as characters in Stranger Things. I had to say, I mean, I've never liked Erica. She just grates on me. It's like,
yeah,
it's the end of the world. Shut up and just do something constructive. Like why? Like why are you still talking? And Murray's the kind of character that works well in like a cameo episode in whatever season he was introduced in. And then once a season you have like the episode where like, whoa, we have to go talk to Murray and everybody rolls their eyes like, oh God. Right. And like it happens for one episode or maybe 1.5, comes back in the finale or something, but not the entire season. Like the fact that he's in every single episode and at the end, they're all part of this like gang that's going to save the world. And it's like, it's funny when you're watching this and looking at these high school kids like Dustin and Lucas and Steve thinking like, yeah, they could save the world in this situation. And you're looking at adults like Murray and Joyce Byers going like, no, you can't. You're not contributing. Go wait outside. Like just don't be part of this. And on a positive note, to wrap this up in a positive note, I did really like Will's arc this season. I thought Will discovering what Vecna was actually doing and what Vecna was being controlled by, like all of that was really interesting. It took a long time to get there from Max's storyline and stuff, but what Will was going through, I thought was really, they handled that very well. I thought that was a really good arc.
Exactly. And I think without spoiling it for those people who haven't seen it, he kind of connects with, he's always had this connection with the Upside Down, and so his connection in this season is just, it's next level. And there's a couple of scenes where he's tapped in, and they were pretty darn cool. Those were my favorite episodes, I think, because it was just, it made me go, okay, let's rewind and watch that part again. That was neat.
The first time he taps in and really kind of gets confident, it's like his Mjolnir movement, right? Like that's the kind.
That's a good way to put it.
You kind of sit up going like, oh, okay, this show is going there. All right, like let's see where this goes. So yeah, I would recommend it. I think that it would be interesting for someone coming into Stranger Things now, watching the series on Netflix, not having however many years we had between season 4 and season 5. You can just watch them straight through without that lull. I'm wondering if it would have the same impact. I kind of had to like go read the wiki summaries of season 4 episodes to remember who had what relationship. Why were Steven and Dustin fighting? I couldn't remember. Like just, it was right. Well, all this kind of stuff, right? It took forever.
Yeah. And it's weird because that fighting, I don't recall that the fighting ever being a thing in season 4. They just start off with it in season 5, I think, but either way, yeah. Overall, enjoyable. If you've enjoyed the season so far, it may not live up to your expectations, but if people are whining and complaining about it and saying it's bad, it's definitely watchable, as like Joel said.
Yeah. Well, we've got things to look forward to coming up in 2026. Yes. So we thought we'd talk about a bunch of trailers. There's been several trailers come out this week, actually, and this is what kind of spurred my decision to kind of talk about these, because they're easy to watch. You and I can catch up and watch the same trailers, in a few minutes. But there are also some interesting things that I did not realize or did not remember were coming out this year. So just off the top, we're going to talk about Masters of the Universe, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which I had not pinned as coming out soon. It does, though. Star Wars Maul, Shadow Lord, which is coming out on Disney+. Supergirl 2026, Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu, Spider-Man Brand New Day, and Avengers Doomsday are the ones that are kind of like on the top of my my list right now. There are others, but they're not as exciting as these, so I thought I would put them up there. And some of these are just in there because I think they're poignant and geeky and not necessarily something I'm going to be talking a lot about. For example, Supergirl. It's got Millie Alcock and Jason Momoa in it. Jason Momoa is playing Lobo. David Corenswet is also in it. He played Superman in James Gunn's film earlier last year. But it's directed by Craig Gillespie. So it's not directed by James Gunn. It's not written by James Gunn. He's still part of the DC, universe. It's his universe. So it's still part of all that, which means I'm not interested. Like, I'm not going to go see Supergirl in theater. But none of the people that are working on it are immediately James Gunn. So it might be a little bit better. However, Gillespie directed 2 episodes of Your Friends and Neighbors, which is one of my favorite shows from 2025. It's not sci-fi or fantasy. It's just like a drama show on Apple TV. And the fact that he directed a couple episodes of those is like, okay, so that makes sense. However, Your Friends and Neighbors and the tone of that show is not what I want in a superhero movie. So we'll leave that up to whoever goes to see Supergirl in 2026. That's coming out June 26th, 2026. This happened to me this week on the Spawn Chunks podcast. So for whatever reason, I never had an issue when I recorded anything on the 25th of 2025. But when you record something on the 26th of 2026, it feels like a tongue twister. And this past week was episode 386 on January 26, 2026. Like, the amount of times I said 26 in like a 10-second interval was just, I had to check myself twice to be like, is this right? This sounds wrong, but is this right? So every time I say it now, it feels like a tongue twister.
I'm right there with you though. Like, fun fact from me, the plural of sixth is probably my least favorite English word to have to say. So
fair.
I'm there with you. Yeah.
Is it any better in French?
It's pretty easy. You could say if it's the sixth, it would be sixième. So yeah,
it has a hard consonant. The M makes it easier at the end of it.
Exactly. And it's like, my issue with the word sixths is it's like one vowel, a slew of consonants, and to pronounce them all properly, it becomes like a 3-syllable word. It's six. You know what I mean? It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I mean, it is English. We should be thankful there's not a PH in it.
Hey, you're making fun of my name?
Oh man.
Yeah. So my sympathies, I'm there with you.
Yeah, it's although surprisingly, like, I've not screwed up the date so far this year. I think the only time I've done it, it's been typing muscle memory. My brain is saying 2026, but my fingers just kind of go click clack and they go 2025. It's like, okay, that's not right. I am thinking the right date. I've not actually handwritten the wrong date, I don't think. And what's nice about that, if it happens, is that the way that I draw the number 5, the way that I handwrite the number 5, can be turned into a 6 very easily. So it doesn't look like a giant mistake. It's not like it's a 4 that I have to turn backwards or some crazy thing. So anyway, complete tangent. Getting back to the trailers. Masters of the Universe is the one I think most people are going to be interested to hear us talk about, because I am definitely someone that grew up watching that show. We've talked about Kevin Smith's series that I never finished. I watched the first half of the first season and decided that's enough for me, and talked about it on this show as a big disappointment. I didn't like the way that they were doing that show.
You told me I should, like, I was looking to watch it and you just said, don't waste your time. So I didn't even try.
Yeah. So the new one is coming out on the 5th of June. The trailer is all over the internet, and so are reaction videos on YouTube. I've seen a lot of like father-daughter or parent-child reaction videos where kids are like, I know of this property because it's been kind of like in the ether the last couple of years, but I don't understand the original, because of course they weren't anywhere near alive, but the parents that are in their 40s are like, this is my jam, like I have been waiting for this a long time. And I was pleasantly surprised by the trailer. There's a couple concerns. I think I would go into this saying I am cautiously optimistic, but not necessarily thinking pessimistic about it. I feel like the director, which is Travis Knight, has done a number of really good things. So Paranorman, Kobo and the Two Strings, and Bumblebee. And Bumblebee is probably the best of the modern Transformer movies because it's not a Michael Bay film. The first Transformers is okay, but the other ones they get worse and worse as they go on. But the Bumblebee movie is great because it's retro. It's set in the 80s. There's a really fantastic opening that's all animated on Cybertron and just is everything everybody ever wants. And they never just took it any further, which drove me nuts. But he's directed those films. And I remember in the theater seeing Bumblebee, walking out going, I really enjoyed that once I realized it was going to be more of like a family film. And once you have those expectations, you're like, okay, this is going to be a little bit tamer. This is not going to be like a Michael Bay film. It's going to be more, general audience. And I really enjoyed it. And I think that they're probably going for the same thing with Masters of the Universe. They probably want a wide audience because they want to make their money back because it looks expensive. There's a lot of CG happening in this.
Yeah.
The cast is pretty good. Idris Elba is a great actor. He's playing Man-at-Arms. I am trying to remember the name. I got the wrong link to IMDb here, so I'm frantically trying to look this up. What did you think of the trailer with the Masters of the Universe?
I think parts of it looked really cool. I think we talked about this. His voice wasn't the strongest sounding. Like it kind of crackles a bit when it opens. I don't know. I think like you, it left me optimistically hopeful. There are certain parts that looked really, really slick and made me want to see it. It sort of disappointed me that they were kind of tying it to current day our world, or it looked like it was going to be current day our world, and I don't need that. I don't necessarily need it. For me, as somebody who watched it as a kid, I don't need you to tie it to my world to have me relate. Like, this is something that takes place in a different world. Like, let it start there. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. So it didn't make me feel like they were going to ruin childhood memories. But I didn't feel blown away, to be honest. So how about you? What did you, am I like tanking the mood here, or how did you feel about it?
Again, cautious optimism, right? It's there are a couple things like, you and I were chatting briefly over text message. His voice, which is Nicholas Galitzine, is an odd choice for me for He-Man. Once he's He-Man, he looks the part. I would imagine that they went with an actor that they felt could fill out the role emotionally, and then tried to get him up to speed physically. And the movements, I have to say, are good. When he's fighting Skeletor, when he's fighting the skeleton warriors at the end there, in the one or two clips that you get of him as He-Man, it's pretty convincing. Like, he moves and feels like he's hitting people pretty hard and all that kind of stuff. There are a couple things that I found kind of jumped out at me at the trailer that had me kind of like pausing, which is, as you mentioned, going back to Earth, not my biggest thing. I did remind myself that He-Man's mother is actually Earthling. She's a pilot that crash lands on Eternia. That's the story from the original cartoon. So it's like, there is a tie to Earth.
I didn't know.
Yeah, she sends him home to Earth, not just like to Earth because it's convenient. It's like there's a reason that they know about Earth. It's because she's an Earthling. She's human. Right. And
I happily stand corrected.
Yeah. It has some very similar vibes to Superman in terms of that in the trailer. And it's a bold choice for them to go back to Earth, because that's the mistake that they made in the 1980s movie with Dolph Lundgren, is that the first 5 minutes are on basically a soundstage in Eternia, and the rest of the movie is in like Oklahoma somewhere. Like, it's really, it's not even interesting Earth. It's like the middle of nowhere. Very, very odd choice. I have that, and it's also available for streaming for people that want to watch it. I have it on DVD if you ever want to watch it. It's one of those things that you have to watch, like, knowing it's going to be absolutely terrible.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It was made back when, like, they were still doing prosthetic makeup for things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and there's a character in this that it's nothing but prosthetics and like animatronic stuff. So anyway, I'm not sure about the whole shtick as Adam. I like the costuming. Like, he looks really ridiculous in the cartoon. He's got like a pink vest. It's all very 80s and 70s fashion. But in this, he's just got a pink shirt that kind of comes untucked, and like that's a nice nod. Like, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, my concern is that it takes him the entire film to get to He-Man, and we get like 15 minutes of him as He-Man at the end. That's what I'm really concerned about. Even on Eternia, like even when he goes back with Tila in the trailer to Eternia, I think he's going to be on Eternia as Adam for far too long. And the other thing that I thought was really odd is that there's a lot of animated stuff and it moves fine, but there's no color. Cringer is sort of green. Roboto is blue with no other colors on them. And if you go back and look at the cartoon, like they're bright colors. Man-at-Arms has got green and yellow. And you absolutely could have gone green and yellow and have it not look campy. Like, yes, the cartoon green and yellow was really loud and it meant to sell toys and, you know, meant to look like a good kid's cartoon. But you could do green and yellow in the same way that like a modern mech, you know, video game or something would do green and yellow, you know, yellow caution edges on things, like stuff like that. You could have absolutely had more color across the board. But in that vein, when you see Skeletor, in one shot, his skull is really, really white. In the other, it looks a little bit more yellow. And that was, I was more on board with. But his staff is purple. The Havoc staff magic that he uses is purple. He's pretty blue. Like he looks pretty good, I have to say, the way that they are doing Skeletor, especially because I'm assuming that his face is going to be animated in a way. It's not going to be a physical prosthetic like it was in the 80s. So I know Jared Leto is in the costume, like he did the motion capture, and I think he does the voice for Skeletor, which we did not hear in the trailer, which is my other concern, because I'm not a fan of Jared Leto, so I don't know. But at the same time, if he's weird and kind of like snarky and rubs you the wrong way, that is kind of Skeletor. Like, that's kind of true to what I want. But I don't want the cackling kind of Joker like Skeletor from the cartoons, because that won't work in live action. Like, it's not going to be threatening if he's like mustache twirling He-Man. Like, that's not going to fly, right? It has to be, because the fight is menacing. Like the very, very end of that trailer, it's pretty menacing. It's like, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm down for that. So we'll have to see. I did get some goosebumps when he did the transition into He-Man. It's a pretty solid shot. Like, it's very true to what everybody grew up watching. So I think they're trying. And again, Travis Knight has a good track record. You know, it's not like I'm going into this going like, I didn't really like any of his other stuff. Like, I liked everything that he has done that I have seen. I really enjoyed. Yeah. So we'll see.
And I mean, it's just a small thing, but like prop wise, it's really cool to see the sword. Do you know what I mean? It's, like such an iconic thing. And so when he sees it, and he sees himself or like a statue holding it in the comic book store or whatever it is, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's pretty cool to see. Yeah. And that was a funny moment when he was trying to take the sword as well. So
that's a fun Easter egg, actually. The statue that he's trying to take it from, it's a 3D rendering of one of the original concept designs for He-Man. He-Man was originally,
oh really?
Yeah, He-Man was originally called like Gore or Core or something, and he had dark hair and was very much a barbarian and not as blonde, and there was no Prince Adam in the original concept. So they took some concept art probably from Hasbro, and like they made that into that statue. So it's kind of like the Easter egg for people that know. There's Lion-O is on the back shelf too from the Thundercats. There's a bunch of little Easter eggs in that shot. That's the part where I'm just like, oh, I don't know, because as soon as Nicholas opened up his mouth as Prince Adam, I was just like, oh, I don't know. That's a pretty high voice. And in the cartoon, he does the same thing. Like, Prince Adam has the falsetto. It's the same thing with I'm blanking on the actor's name that plays Batman in the Bruce Timm cartoons. Mark Hamill and oh my gosh, that's awful. Anyway, he does the same thing. His natural speaking voice is more like Batman, but then he puts on this kind of Bruce Wayne kind of higher, softer pitch when he does some Bruce Wayne stuff. So anyway, it might work, but it feels a little high. Like, it feels like very non-threatening, and I don't know if that's gonna like if he's really pushing it, or if he has a better sound as He-Man. He's also British too, so the American accent that he's using is something else that he's doing. So, but I find that most British actors that do that tend to be pretty good at it. Next up is the Super Mario Galaxy movie. This is something else I'm excited about. I really enjoyed the first one, the Super Mario Brothers movie, and there's a great voice cast as usual. We've got most people are returning. You got Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy. We've got Jack Black as Bowser. Brie Larson is coming in as Rosalina, and I want to say, surprisingly, Keegan-Michael Kay is Toad, and I liked him as Toad. I didn't realize it was Keegan-Michael Kay, so because I don't particularly like him. So we'll see how that goes. But I really like the vibes of the trailer. They're bright, they're colorful. There's all kinds of little Easter eggs. The reveal trailer for Yoshi was really, really fun. The way that they did that, I thought that was great. There's Birdo. There's all kinds of characters you know and love. The animation looks over the top.
By Birdo.
Yeah, the animation looks over the top. There's a part where Luigi puts on the frog costume and then stomps on like a giant fish, and the animation is just wild. It's really, really fun. And I like the gag of Yoshi being now part of the group and Toad basically rolling his eyes anytime Yoshi's on screen, basically being like, so the dinosaur shows up for 5 minutes and he's cute, and like now he's part of the gang, and Toad is like pushed down the rank ladder, I guess is what he's feeling. Anyway, I like it. It feels pretty fun. I'm looking forward to that. That's coming out on April 1st. Illumination, of course, is a well-known animation studio. They do the Minions and Despicable Me, and they've done some other stuff recently as well. But this just looks really, really well done, and the music for the first one was really good. So I'd imagine that it will also be here, something to keep your ear open for, because even in the trailer, when they discover Yoshi, the Yoshi theme is played, but it's like slowed down and like a little charming. It's like, oh, that's the theme from Super Mario World. Like I can totally clock that. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool classic looks and stuff. What did you think of the Galaxy trailer?
I'm glad they released this, because there was the previous teaser trailer that had like this small tiny Bowser in it, and it felt like they stayed on that gag too long, and there's part of me that felt like I hope it's going to be more substantial than this. It felt like they like an odd thing to focus on in your first intro to it, where this one, it starts off where they're basically Mario Karting on bikes across the desert for the first chunk of it, which looks really cool. And then, like you said, they go into the spooky building where they find Yoshi, and everything about it that you said, like the music, just I know it's animated, but I mean the music and the lighting and it seems, I'm not sure how to say it, not larger than life than the first one, but the trailer felt really well cut together, showcasing a bunch of stuff that looked really, really cool. It was a massive step up from the first teaser that they released, so I'm on board. I enjoyed the first one more than I thought it would, because I was like, it landed better than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be just this hokey Super Mario game just played out. It was kind of that, but it was a lot more impressive than I thought, and this seems like it's setting it up to be a good sequel.
Something I did not know was coming out this week as a trailer was the teaser trailer for Daredevil Born Again Season 2. I had forgot that there was even a Season 2 coming. I remember liking Season 1 from what I remember. I'm sure we had nitpicks on this show, but the official teaser is out. You've seen it, right?
I did, yes. Watched it just before the show.
So not a giant spoiler, because it's a trailer, and IMDb will also let you know that Jessica Jones is back in the series, and this is the big switch over from the cast from the original Netflix show coming over to Disney Plus, and so they're bringing over Jessica Jones for that. So that should be fun. We've got the same old folks. We've got BB Ulrich is back. Wilson Fisk, of course, is back. Matt Murdock. Karen Page is back and also being trained by Matt Murdock. So I don't know whether they're teaming up. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but I like it. I like the fact that they're back, because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, from one of my complaints from Born Again was that she was in it for just a few minutes, and then she was like on the other side of the country for the rest of the season, and
Yeah,
I felt like that was a disservice. So
same.
this looks like it's going to be better. I'm trying to remember the character. It's Benjamin Poindexter is the actor. He features heavily in the trailer, but I don't remember what superhero he is. It's Deadshot or Bullseye. I can't. There's
Sure Shot or something.
There's two characters like this. One is Marvel, one is DC. I can never remember which is which. I think Floyd Lawton is the DC guy, but I don't remember his code name. And then Benjamin Poindexter is the Marvel version, but again, I don't remember his code. Basically, they shoot, they can't miss. Like that's their whole shtick.
It's like Hawkeye with bullets.
Yeah, precisely. So he's probably going to be the super powered or the powered individual that's going up against Daredevil this season. He's got a new costume. It's all black with red D's on it, and new horns are kind of lower. Like there's some cooler shots. It's a teaser, so there's really not much for story. It's just kind of a bunch of situations and some flashy graphics and stuff like that. So, but worth checking out. I'm excited for it, and it's coming out March 24th on Disney Plus. So
that's way sooner than I thought.
Yeah, I might be returning to Disney Plus a lot sooner than I thought. I definitely unsubscribe to Disney Plus when I'm not watching anything that's immediate, like pulling my attention, like Star Wars or Marvel. I'm just like I unsubscribe and come back later. Speaking of Star Wars, this is something I'm looking forward to, and it overlaps, so it's nice. I'll be able to watch Daredevil Born Again season 2. And then start on April 6th when Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord comes out. And this is Disney and Lucasfilm, of course, created and developed by Dave Filoni, who we all know and love. And it is, I think, the first real animated series, not short or anthology, but series that follows a antagonist as the main character. And following Maul around as he gets into the underbelly of the Star Wars universe is going to be really interesting. And I saw a reaction video where people were saying like, this is serious. Like there's no punches being pulled. Like he is cutting people in half. And someone made the joke, well, like it's kind of his thing. It's like, oh boy, low hanging fruit. But yeah, like it looks really good. It's also animated just a little bit punchier. Like I really feel like it's every time they release a series like this, Clone Wars got better as it went on, and then Rebels got better as it went on, and then we watched The Bad Batch and it got better as it went on. And I feel like now, like the animation on these things, it's so good. It's stylized, but it's so good.
There's something about the flavor of this one. I want to say it's slightly arcane-ish, but it's not. Like the characters don't look arcane-ish, but there's something about the finish on the textures and stuff that looks like it's just a little bit, just a little bit grittier, but in a good way. It looks like it's not so polished as the previous one. So I think it looked. I was surprised how good it looked. Like I haven't seen, as we've talked about, all of episode 2 or even episode 3 at all, and there's a bunch of stuff that I have missed that I do need to catch up on. I know, bad Steven. So I know who Darth Maul is, and like this looks really, really cool. I didn't know much what to expect from it, but it looks solid.
Yeah. Did you watch Solo? Did you see that one?
That was the movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, cool. So you remember his cameo in that, right?
Yes, it's been a while, so I'm a bit foggy on it.
I think this kind of is the same timeline. Like I think it's around the same time. So we'll have to see. But I agree with you. It does have that arcane vibe to it. I think the action is harder hitting. There's more smears and things happening with the lightsabers, which is more interesting. And in some shots, I almost want to say that the backgrounds are like a combination of like CG models and maybe even some matte paintings. Like there seems to be some real granular brushstroke stuff to it. Like I agree. Like it does look grittier, in a way, which is great because like it's going to probably be a grittier show because there's no heroes in this. Like, or if there
Yeah,
are,
fair.
they're the secondary characters. Like there are a couple of Jedi in it that look like they're struggling and running for their lives, but it doesn't appear to be anything that has them as like the main characters. Like Maul is the main dude,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mentioned Supergirl already. That's going to come out on the 26th of June. There is a teaser trailer out there as well. Speaking of Star Wars, we also have on May 22nd is when this is expected. This is not a release date, but this is when we're expecting Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu to come out. And I don't have a lot to say. We've already talked about this trailer when it first came out. This is not a new trailer, but I wanted to throw it in here just because it's part of the Star Wars conversation, and it's part of like the February through June, July that we're kind of looking at in this episode. We've also got Spider-Man Brand New Day. There is no trailer yet, but there is an expected date of July 31st. So later in the summer, we'll get another Spider-Man movie, we hope. And then that brings us to a series of teaser trailers for Avengers Doomsday. And I was not expecting this to be as interesting as it turned out. And they didn't learn until the last trailer. They could have called these trailer 1, 2, 3, and 4 and gotten all kinds of great reactions out of everybody. But the YouTube trailers are actually called like Steve Rogers teaser trailer, Thor teaser trailer.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
And then they're shot in a way that you don't really see the character that they're doing the trailer for until the last like couple of seconds. And you're like, if you just had called this, the January, 1st trailer or whatever it was, the Steve Rogers one was in front of another film. I think it was in front of Avatar in theaters. So that got leaked immediately. I kind of found out about it. I don't know how they're doing it. I'm assuming it's not the Steve Rogers from our Earth. I'm assuming it's Steve Rogers from a different Earth.
I'm curious because it could be the Steve Rogers from our Earth
in a different time.
In a different time, although that'll be tough because the whole point of him going back in time was to just basically go and live his love life and just lay low. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be, I'm curious, but I was actually lucky on this one because I wasn't paying attention to the title and it was one of those autoplay things that showed up, and I was like, wait, and like I knew the swagger in his walk and like the stride and things like that, and I saw the ring on the finger that they focused on. I'm like, okay, wait a second. And so like I may have had the same reactions as some people online who hadn't seen it before because it was me in my office by myself on the computer going, no wait, really? And then when I saw him, I was just stoked because he's probably my all-time favorite character. Like his movies, his standalone movies were among my favorites. So very jazzed that he's back.
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought at first, like if he had a kid, even if it's in the main MCU timeline, we don't know how old he is in Endgame when he's sitting on the bench and he gives the shield to Sam, but he looks like he's in his mid 30s when he goes back, and he goes back to the 50s or the 40s, ish, right? Given the vehicles on the road in that last scene in Endgame,
right,
which means that he lives another 70 years to 2018 or 2020, whenever Endgame came out, and that puts him at 106 sitting on the bench, which is possible because he's a super soldier, right? But then if he had a kid, how old is this kid? Because I was like, well, wait a minute, if he had a kid, how come there's not like a 40-year-old Avenger named Steve Rogers Jr. that's doing like following in dad's footsteps? But then it's like, wait a minute, his kid could be like 60 right? If he lived to be 106, his kid could be very old, right? And so takes that out of the equation. So you're right, like it could be the timeline Steve that we know. I'm a little concerned that they're bringing all the band back together, at least all the ones that they can. And I don't know if that's like, I thought we had they called it Endgame. Like I thought we wrapped it up and we were going to move on. And I was looking forward to a new Avengers forming. Like I kind of thought what was going to happen after Endgame was like, okay, we're going to move on. They've given the shield to Sam. And I thought there was going to be a series of new standalone movies for these new heroes, Spider-Man, Falcon, and I can't remember the other characters that they were going to, like Daredevil maybe, like bring up to make the new Avengers. And I don't know who's in the new Avengers. I know that's like an actual comic book, but I thought it would be cool if they did that and brought us up. Because I mean, the formula worked the first time. Why not rinse and repeat, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It almost feels like damage control a little bit from
Yeah.
almost like an apology for everything since Endgame. Like I've been trying to be, yeah, cool, another Marvel thing, but then some of them, as we've
Oh,
discussed,
some of
just
them are not
do not
great. Yeah.
land.
And I'm not happy about RDJ being back as Doctor
Yeah.
Doom. Like I don't think that's, I mean, I'm sure he will act the hell out of it, and I'm sure that
Oh
it'll
yeah.
be very different. I don't think it's going to be just Tony Stark in a hood, but I feel like they could have moved on with a different actor and gone a different road with it. But anyway, the teaser trailer for Steve is great. The Thor one was really good. There's a theme between the two of them because Thor now at the end of Love and Thunder also has a kid. And I
Yeah.
can't remember for the life of me because I only saw that movie once because once was enough. If it's his adopted
Once was
kid
too much.
or if I can't remember how she's his kid, but she's his kid in that's for all the reasons that matter. He's a father now. And I liked his speech in his trailer. I thought that was cool that he was asking, the All Father for strength for one last fight so he could return and not teach his daughter how to fight, but teach her peace or stillness or something. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, I think she's the daughter of. There's a godlike character at the beginning of Thor: Love and Thunder,
Right.
like the big bad in it. I believe she was
Oh, right. Yeah,
his
like
daughter.
he has to kill the father to save the day, and so he has to then adopt the daughter because that's what he was fighting
Yeah,
for. Or something. I'm
I think so.
vaguely
Yeah,
remembering that movie. That movie was all kinds of left, right, and center.
yeah,
These next two actually got me more excited. The X-Men teaser trailer, I went into blind. I saw the title, unfortunately, but
Mm.
going in, I didn't know what X-Men were going to be in it, and I had forgotten the list of names that they said were going to be in Avengers Doomsday. I did not remember that Patrick Stewart was going to be in it. So when they started
Yeah,
showing the original mansion, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. This is the music from the X-Men movies, not like anything recent, not the James McAvoy ones. This is the old school like 90s 2000s X-Men." And then you see Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen having a scene together, and you're like, "Oh, wow. These guys are back? Like that is wild." And what does that mean? Like even in the trailer, Magneto, Eric looks unwell. Like he looks
yeah,
frail. And I'm not sure what that means. And we all know in Logan that eventually Charles is a problem when he starts to lose his mind. So I'm not sure how they're going to do the older characters in X-Men. But at the very end of it, we had this wicked reveal that Cyclops is back and in appropriate comic costuming and is played by James Marsden, who is Cyclops from the original X-Men movies. So really kind of having a heyday. Like I think Cyclops was one of the characters that really big X-Men fans felt was underserved in the X-Men / Wolverine movies because Hugh Jackman just kind of stole the show. And I'm curious to see what they do because that was awesome. There's also, if you watch closely a second time, there's Sentinels walking in the background. These
okay.
giant
So watch it
feet.
again.
Oh yeah, there's nothing but like a shin and a foot because they're so big walking in the background, and that's what he was shooting at or doing stuff to, like it was. Yeah, it looks really cool, and I like the delivery too. In all of these trailers, there's a slowed down version of the Avengers theme, and I think it's in like a minor key, like it's really melancholy and kind of foreboding at the same time. And then Magneto is giving a speech about death. It's like we all die, like you can't escape it. It's a matter of like who are you going to be when you close your eyes? Like what have you done that's worthwhile? And it's a really good, really good speech. But all the stuff that they're doing with the weight of the conversation from Thor, the weight of the ideas put forth by Magneto, they feel like they're kind of things that need like an end game type movie, like Doomsday. But I don't feel like there's been enough buildup. Like I don't think there's been enough time since Endgame, and I don't think there's been enough good movies since Endgame to build up the excitement and to have this kind of weight. I just kind of feel like they're throwing another massive villain at the Avengers characters, having done no work, in between, outside of a couple of loose things. Like, I mean, well, Doctor Doom is a Fantastic Four villain, and he's a Marvel villain, but he's a Fantastic Four villain, and so we had a little bit of like hint of him in Fantastic Four at the very, very end in the post credit scene, but that's it. So I don't know. Like, I feel like we had like Thanos buildup and Infinity Stone buildup across like 19 movies or something.
I'm not kidding.
So I feel like they might be rushing it, but I'm not really sure. What did you think of the X-Men trailer?
I mean, I saw the title of it before going into it, but like you, I wasn't sure what to expect. But as soon as you start to hear the voiceover from Patrick Stewart, I'm like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. And then it shows the two of them, like you said, looks like Magneto's not doing well. But I thought my initial reaction when I saw the two of them was, how cool must it be to act opposite your best friend, like your real life best friend, in these same two characters over years and years and years of movies? Because I mean, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are real life best buds. So it's just the fact that they're playing best friends in a movie, it's just got to come. I mean, on some level, how much acting are they doing, right? It just comes so naturally to them. But I mean that respectfully there,
yes,
sirs. But yeah, but it's got to be pretty cool though too. Just to, haven't seen you in a while. Let's go hang out all day on set. Why not? So, I don't know as much about the Cyclops character. I didn't read many X-Men or I'd only read a couple of X-Men comics that friends had. We weren't much of a big comic book house back in the day, so I don't know necessarily that he was done a disservice, but I had heard of the same thing. But he looks his like just, I don't see he looks crazy in this, but he just looks unhinged and just he looks ticked off, and so it looks just like energy and power overflowing in a wild way. So it looks visually looks really cool. So I'm curious to see how this will go.
In the last one, I did not see anything ahead of time because they smartened up, and it was just like teaser trailer number 4. They didn't really give it a title, and so when you watch it, you watch Shuri land somewhere in some weird desert. And she looks like she's walking towards something, and she's talking about, I've lost everything, and her own kind of story and sadness. And then M'Baku is walking next to her, and he introduces himself to someone that you can't quite see, and says, M'Baku, King of Wakanda. And then Ben Grimm, is it Ben Grimm? Yeah. I think is his name.
Yeah.
From Fantastic Four is like, Ben, gives his address in New York. He just kind of said somewhere between Bleecker and Fifth or something like that. It was great. It was really, really solid. And of course the teaser trailer ends with like the Wakandans and Fantastic Four will return in Avengers Doomsday. And then they start the Doomsday clock, which I think is a really fun marketing ploy for the movie. The ticking clock is good.
Yeah.
I'm
still
excited.
Live. Like there's like a specific channel or live countdown still going, which is cool.
Yeah. I'm excited for Fantastic Four being more than just a movie that they were in. We saw their post-credit scene in Thunderbolts, I think is when they came through into our planet. But the ship had got another jet propulsion rocket on it or something. There was 3 in the movie, and the one that they came in on had 4. So it's not the same ship. I don't know. I don't think there's any movies from the Fantastic Four that are slated to come out between now and December. So that's what I mean. Like, it's a little bit strange to think about like how all this is going to tie together, other than just like they're putting everybody in a big boiling pot. But at the same time, if Avengers Doomsday is not an end movie, if it's a beginning movie, then maybe.
Yeah, you stole the words from my mouth. I was literally wondering if this is maybe just bringing the ensemble together to then send them off all in their separate directions to have their storylines, so that it then collects again. Because I think there's another Doomsday movie planned for, I forget. There was something, but it's like this one with the Black Panther crew. I'm very excited. There were some of my favorite. The original Black Panther, I think, was my favorite standalone movie, and until the second one came out, and then it was like I couldn't call it a standalone movie anymore. It's I think we talked about it. It wasn't my favorite. And in this teaser, they also had, I honestly forget the name of the underwater people.
Namor is his
Namor?
name? I think I get confused with the underwater people from DC.
DC world.
Yeah.
So they were shown in the teaser as well, and which, I don't know, that felt like a bit too much to me, because then it felt like you're not just having the characters we've come to know and love over the years. Like this one said, okay, we're bringing Black Panther back, but we're also going to keep bringing Black Panther baggage with us. You know what I mean? Like the things that weren't tied up in their movie, we're going to bring along to tie off in this movie. So it's the kind of, and I don't know. That's the only teaser that made me feel that way a little bit.
It is Namor. Yep. The Submariner is the one from DC. Namor is the one from Marvel. I'm looking forward to more stuff. I like Wakandans. I really like M'Baku, but I can't stand Shuri. I don't like the character. The actor rubs me the wrong way now. Like there's just something about the way that she portrays stuff that I understand that the character has got reason to be not happy, but like she's just grumpy all the time. And I don't know. There's something about her whole screen presence I don't enjoy particularly. But the thing is, like in a movie of this cast size, like she's not going to be in it very much. Like no one person is really going to be in it the whole thing. I don't think, right? Like there's going to be a lot of push and pull across the different characters. And man, there's a lot. Like I'm looking at the IMDb list right now too, and Kelsey Grammer is back as Beast. Kurt Wagner, played by Alan Cumming, is back. Rebecca Romijn is playing Raven, Mystique. So like a lot of the original X-Men cast are in this. So that's going to be cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, we will have to see. But that is something we will have to keep an eye on for next time. Moving on into the Internet Minute. If you are someone that enjoys the Citadel Cafe, we are 100% listener supported. If you're getting value out of the show, please consider putting a little bit of value back in. You become a member at patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. You get access to a Barista bonus audio session, those that are already on the site. Any new material that we record that's extra, we will also give you access to that. And you get to join the Discord as well. Special thanks to our Bean Counter patrons, EclipseRM and Smurf588. Thank you very much for your support on this episode. Patron count is at 18, which is steady on from episode 500. So we haven't gained or lost anybody, but that means there's always room for more. If you'd like to be patron number 19, visit patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. I have a quick pick this week, keeping up with the nerddom, and it's a Lego set, and I had to dig for this. This came out just in time for me to talk about it on the show. It's actually not out. You can pre-order it now. It will be available on the Lego website on March 1st, and it is the Lego Lord of the Rings Sauron's helmet. And this caught my eye because I just did the Darth Vader helmet not a month ago. That was my last set of 2025. This is $90 Canadian, 538 pieces. I feel like the Darth Vader set was more like 400, but I could be wrong. It is large, though. This is 13 inches high, 5 inches wide, 5 inches deep. So more, of course, tall than it is deep. They all kind of have the same kind of depth and width because they're all meant to kind of sit on like a bookshelf. And it really captures the distinct silhouette of the Sauron helmet from Lord of the Rings. As with some of these helmets, I do feel like there are more studs visible in the final model than I would like, specifically on the face. The dome of the helmet is actually pretty smooth, and as are like the long kind of spikes and crown that he has. But I found that like the cheeks and around the eyes, there's a lot of studs visible, and some are cool. But I find that in these helmets, they usually look a bit better if they're smoother. But that's just a personal preference thing. Some people don't mind. It's still cool looking. Like, don't get me wrong. It's still something that I think is good, especially because it's not small. Like in order to maintain the silhouette, they've made the helmet about the same scale as like the Star Wars helmets that I have, but of course because of the crown and the spikes, it's much taller. So they've maintained that kind of helmet scale to it. And there's also a Sauron minifig that has a ring, which I thought was a nice touch.
Oh, I didn't see that. Nice.
Yeah, he's holding. There's a little minifig next to him, and he's next to the sign that says Lord of the Rings Sauron, and then he's holding the one ring, which I thought was a nice a nice nod.
Goes around his entire hand. That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. No, it's more like a bracelet. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a cool set. Like I'm at first when I saw the video release, I thought, I don't know, that doesn't look dark enough, but the darker gray Lego photographs lighter because it's reflective. And in the original advertisement I saw on Instagram, it looked lighter than it does in these pictures. So at the same time, like I wouldn't want it to be jet black because it would be really hard to see all the details. Um,
Mm,
I just built the Darth Vader helmet, and that is all black. And it's not hard to see the details, but at the same time, there's a lot more technology happening and finer detail in that helmet. And I don't know if this all black, if you just get lost, because I think the issue that they would probably have is that the eye holes would not show up. They would probably disappear.
right.
And in the Darth Vader helmet, there's no eye holes. They're actually like goggles. Like he's got like a mask. And so they protrude. So and they have their smooth surface. So you don't lose them because it's all black. It's actually beneficial. Whereas this, I think that all black, you might lose some of the like the nose holes and the eye holes. But I think this would look really good with an LED kit. Like I think if it had like a red light inside of it or
Mm,
something, like the
yeah.
orange kind of glow, I think would be really cool to have. I'm sure that somebody's probably planning that already. So that's my pick. What is yours?
Mine's actually another Minecraft mention. My eldest actually sent me along the link to this. It's a user named, I think it's just a YouTube username, or maybe it's Twitch as well, but About Oliver. That's somebody who's actually playing Minecraft for the first time, but they're going at it without any help. They don't really know the game. They don't really know. Um, they've heard some basic things from their friends. Like in the opening part of the video, he's walking around and he says, "Well, I'm going to punch this tree because I heard that's a thing that you're supposed to do." And then so he's talking about like he's got no idea. And so apparently he's done hours and hours and hours of streaming just figuring it out using the sort of achievement
Mm-hmm.
system to figure out, oh, okay, this is probably the thing that I need to do next. Or no, oh, now that I've got this, and then just going on and trying something else. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I saw a clip of him in the Nether for the first time, and he he starts to get hit by hoglins, and he's just like, oh my god, had to just like hightailed it out there, just had no idea what to do. So then was being it's pretty it's fun to watch somebody play it for the first time, but really interesting to have them go about it with no outside help. So yeah, that's my pick.
I've watched Liz, another streamer that's playing Minecraft for the first time for a couple of weeks now, and it is interesting, but also can be very frustrating. And I've never
Hmm.
watched live, and she's usually got her mods policing anybody that's kind of like giving her tips and trips and stuff. And I find it really frustrating too when like a streamer wants to do a blind playthrough and people just come in and start telling them what to do and giving them
Oh
spoilers. And
yeah,
it's like you understand that by spoiling this, you don't get to watch someone play it for the first time. Like you're ruining
yeah,
what they're trying to do. It just and people are just unable to help themselves. It's so interesting to see that kind of social tick. They have to let them know. But in a way, I sort of understand it. But like I'm an adult and I have self control, so I would never say anything in anybody's chat. But when you're watching somebody not able to figure out what they're doing or what something is for, and they've just not read a tooltip, or they haven't gone to the achievements menu, or they've done something with one thing but they've not tried it with another, uh, and they're frustrated. It's like, oh man, that sucks that this person is so frustrated. But at the same time, and we've talked about this on the Sponge Chunks, there's not as much onboarding in Minecraft as there is in other
hmm,
games. And some of that is by design, but other times I think it's to their detriment. And I think there's a lot of new players that might try Minecraft and get frustrated and bail. It's like, this is dumb. Like, I'm out.
yeah,
Because if you don't have an imagination, like if you don't go at it like you and I go at Minecraft with like an idea, or want to create something, then trying to like treat it like any other video game, if you've played other games, it's not going to treat you well. It's
true.
it's really kind of hard to wrap your head around some mechanics. And Minecraft has gotten better at it over the years with like toasts that come up to say like, you've got a new recipe in your recipe book. Like, well, what does that do? And all that kind of stuff. And you need to go find this mineral or this thing to go craft these things together. Like you've got a new recipe because you've picked up this one element, but then the other ingredients in the recipe are things that you don't know exist or you haven't found yet. So, you don't know where to go to get them. And it's interesting to watch someone go through that. And the achievements do help a lot because they steer you towards the nether. They steer you towards taming animals and all that kind of stuff. So there's certain things that I think people get from following the achievements. But again, if you don't know and explore the menu, then you're not going to see that page, right? Like it's not like it comes up as part of the game. It's just kind of like there. And if you decide to click on it, you're good. So yeah, I tip my hat to anybody that's trying to do a blind playthrough, especially if you're trying to do it either live on Twitch or you're posting the videos on YouTube. Like you can't read your comments at all, right? Because somebody is going to ruin the fun. And so,
exactly.
So I tip of the hat to those folks doing it because it's definitely a challenging thing to try and do, and better that they're doing it now than 5 or 10 years ago, because it's a lot easier now to learn from the game on your own than it would be 5 or 10 years ago.
Exactly. And one thing I should add to this is the YouTube video linked in the show notes is actually to another YouTube user who was actually watched through the hours and hours and hours of stream and actually cut it down into a more digestible format. So you don't actually have to go and watch About Oliver play, sometimes painfully, through all these hours of Minecraft. So it's basically like, here's the tale chopped down. So it's still lengthy because they kind of want to show all the bits that About Oliver experiences, but you don't get to have to watch him like banging his head trying to figure out the same thing over and over and over again. Like it's not quite a trailer for it, but it is like a more succinct version. So yeah.
Nice. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Citadel Cafe. You can get more information about the show and links to some of the things that Stephen and I talked about at thecitadelcafe.com. Music for the show was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can email us at thecitadelcafe@gmail.com or find the show by name on social media. Subscribe for free on all the major podcasting platforms. There's a version on YouTube. Well, there's no video, but there is the audio there for Google Podcasts. The RSS feed and the show notes are available on our website, and that's thecitadelcafe.com. Word of mouth is the easiest way to support the show. If you've enjoyed it, just tell a friend about the Citadel Cafe and where they can go to listen to it. My name is Joel Duggan, and I will point you towards my other podcast, The Spawn Chunks. It's all about Minecraft, and it's available on all major podcasting platforms, as well as thespawnchunks.com. New episodes are out every Monday. You can follow me on social media at Joel Duggan and Joel Duggan on Twitch, where I stream Tuesday through Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning here in Atlantic Canada, and on Saturdays I stream at 1 p.m. Mostly right now playing Minecraft, but I've had a lot of time in Hightail as well, so I've been splitting my time there. So it's a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy it. And so that's twitch.tv/Joel Duggan. Stephen, where can people find you online?
If I'm anywhere, it seems to be mostly Blue Sky these days. So I'm Stephen ESE on Blue Sky, but also hang out every once in a while on Mastodon at Stephen ESE at mstdn.ca.
You've been listening to the Citadel Cafe, where we are fast, easy, and cheap, but you can only pick two.